Alpine conditions are found in the great mountain ranges of the world, some of which include the Rocky Mountains in North America, the Andes in South America, the Himalayas in Asia, the Alps in Europe, and the Rift Mountains in Africa. These alpine biomes are usually found at an altitude of about 10,000 feet to where the snowline of the mountain begins. It occurs above the limit of tree growth. During the summer, average temperatures range from 10 degrees to 15 degrees Celsius. The summer season may last from June to September. In the winter, the temperatures are below freezing. The winter season can last from October to May. This graph exemplifies just that. The graph shows the average temperature throughout the year in Davos, a small town in the Swiss Alps. Climate in alpine regions is colder than you would expect at sea level at the same altitude. Rainfall varies considerably. As the rising air cools, it loses the ability to retain moisture and clouds form, resulting in the increase of precipitation on the windward side of the mountain. On the leeward side, the descending air, already dried by its trip over the mountains, warms and removes moisture from the ground. This is one of the driving forces behind the deserts in the American Southwest.
Alpine soils are very similar to the soils of tundra biomes, except they are on high slopes and at high elevation. If it is cold enough, they can be gelisols, like that of the tundra. Gelisols are soils of very cold climate, which are defined as containing permafrost within 2 meters of the soil surface. The soils at the top of the Himalayas are of this type. In alpine biome conditions, when plants die, they don't decompose very quickly because of the cold. This makes for poor soil conditions. However, a great majority of alpine soils are inceptisols with spodosols under. These are baby soils. Because of the severe climate of the alpine biome, plants and animals have developed adaptations to these conditions. Alpine animals have to deal with two types of problems: the cold and too much high UV wavelengths. This is because there is less atmosphere to filter UV rays from the sun. There are only warm-blooded animals in the alpine biome, although there are some insect species. Alpine animals adapt to the cold by hibernating, migrating to lower, warmer areas, or insulating their bodies with layers of fat. Animals will also tend to have shorter legs, tails, and ears in order to reduce heat loss. Alpine animals also have larger lungs, more blood cells, and hemoglobin because of the increase of pressure and lack of oxygen at higher altitudes. Examples of alpine animals include the alpaca, mountain goat, snow leopard, yak, and condor.
The alpine biome is a hard place for plants to live. It's windy, cold, and the sunlight at these high altitudes is very strong. There are only about 200 species of alpine plants. At high altitudes, there's very little carbon dioxide, which plants need to carry on photosynthesis. Because of the cold and the wind, most plants are small, perennial, ground-covered plants which grow and reproduce slowly. They protect themselves from the cold and wind by hugging the ground. Taller plants or trees would soon get blown over and freeze. As said before, the soil is not very productive because when plants die, they don't decompose very quickly because of the cold. Most alpine plants can grow in sandy and rocky soil. Plants have also adapted to the dry conditions of the alpine biome. Lichens are important to some alpine areas. They reside in the lower regions of the alpine biomes. They grow on trees and become a food source during winter. The alpine biome is a major carbon dioxide sink. During the short summer, alpine plants take in carbon dioxide, sunlight, and water in the process of photosynthesis. Plants normally give off carbon dioxide after they die and decompose, but because of the short, cool summer and freezing winter temperatures, the plants can't decompose. Alpine biomes are very important because there are many animals, including bears, birds, and caribou, that migrate to the alpine regions in search of food during the summer and shelter during the winter. Most of the alpine population is made of migrating animals. Also, mountains are important because they store large amounts of drinking water. The precipitation and snow that gets caught in the peaks melts in the springs, creating streams, recharging underwater aquifers, and providing water for the larger, more diverse ecosystems at the base. Half of the world's population depends on mountain water. Alpine biomes are a good source of revenue. Pine trees, which are cut for fuel wood and ski resorts, bring in a lot of money.